Opportunity of being at the Stemley Baptist Church. We have been able to be here so often now that we consider ourselves almost adjunct members of the congregation. And I suppose that's all right as long as we send our tithes and offerings. I heard that tap too. Pastor Doug Gorse may not approve of that. We are members over at Mountain Brook Baptist up in Birmingham. But it's always good to be here, and we always are grateful for your warm and very pleasant and receptive welcome to us as we come to visit with you. We appreciate our worship team today, and grateful for your presence this morning as we come together to worship. Let's bow and pray. The events of this past week, our Father, have reminded us that the devil is alive and well and present on planet Earth. Keep us from ever becoming enamored of violence, murder, crime, evil. And how today we pray for the people in Florida. Those of us with children and grandchildren, those of us who find relationship with children in Sunday school classes, schoolroom classes, the list goes on. We have great empathy and sympathy for parents today whose hearts are absolutely crushed, broken. We pray for those who care for them. As a fellow member of the Communion of the Called, I'm especially aware of the pastors in that area. Pastors who give their love and their pastoral care to their sheep of their flock. Pastors who must stand in pulpits like this and conduct funerals, teenagers, of heroic adults who really took the bullet to protect others. And then we pray for our governmental leaders. Somehow, some way, we may be able to find solutions for people of instability who use guns. We pray for guidance for them, for wisdom, direction, as they seek to lead. We pray for one another today. We pray that this will be an uncommon experience for us. For many of us being here in this room on Sunday morning, it is regular for us as our next breath and beat of our hearts. And we're grateful. We pray, our Father, that there will be a sense of your Spirit among us. As we open your Word, find fresh truth, fresh water, warm bread. That you will make extraordinary what we would call ordinary, uncommon what we might call common. And that we will worship, be amazed, not simply stand around and pick blackberries, plan next week's activities, finish our grocery list. But come among us this morning. Help us to be lifted. Face a new week, new responsibilities, new opportunities, new purpose. We ask all this to the glory of Christ. In His name. Amen. Take the Bible somewhere, if you will, and turn to the first book of the Bible. That'll be an easy one to find. Always concerns me sometimes when preachers preach out of a Song of Solomon, I have to look it up. But if you look at the book of Genesis and look at chapter 9 of the book of Genesis, there's a wonderful passage here when Noah, his son, his daughter-in-law, family comes out of the ark. God is speaking to Noah as he's come out of the ark with his family members. And he's giving him a sense of security and a reminder of his covenant with Noah to be able to look toward the future, even toward us. There's a word that I'll point out as we read the text. That includes us. So beginning, if you will, please, in Genesis chapter 9, God responds to Noah in his covenant. This is called the Noahic covenant. Then God spoke to Noah and to his sons with him, saying, And as for me, behold, I establish my covenant with you and with your descendants after you, and with every living creature that is with you, the birds, the cattle, and every beast of the earth with you, of all that go out of the ark, every beast of the earth. And thus I establish my covenant with you. Never again shall all flesh be cut off by the water of the flood. Never again shall there be a flood to destroy the earth. God said, This is the sign of the covenant which I make between me and you, and every living creature that is with you for perpetual, there's that word, for perpetual generation. I set my rainbow in the cloud, and it shall be for the sign of the covenant between me and the earth. It shall be that when I bring a cloud over the earth, that the rainbow shall be seen in the cloud. And I will remember my covenant which is between me and you and every living creature of all flesh. The water shall never again become a flood to destroy all flesh. That's God never again. You'll notice in our text how many times he says never again. In verse 16, the rainbow shall be in the cloud, and I will look on it to remember the everlasting covenant between God and every living creature of all flesh that is on the earth. God said to Noah, This is the sign of the covenant which I have established between me and all flesh that is on the earth. The text today particularly is in verse 13. I set my rainbow in the cloud, and it shall be for the sign of the covenant between me and the earth. I've never seen anybody that doesn't like a rainbow, and I are one. I love rainbows. I remember when our children were little, and we would be driving along, we'd be out in the yard, we'd take a walk around the neighborhood, rain had passed, the sun was shining through the droplets, creating that atmosphere of vapor, beautiful rainbow in the sky, that we would excitedly look at it. And I would excitedly point it out, look at the rainbow, there's a rainbow, there's a rainbow. We have created all kinds of myths about rainbows. We have created the myth that at the end of the rainbow there's a leprechaun who is guarding a pot of gold. And if you ever reach the end of the rainbow, you can get the pot of gold. Of course, the problem is no one ever reaches the end of the rainbow and gets the pot of gold. Those who write music have capitalized upon our fascination with rainbows. I love that song, Somewhere Over the Rainbow. Would you like me to sing a few bars? No, not really. But we sing Somewhere Over the Rainbow. And one of my favorite movies, an older one of course, that includes the actor, singer, dancer Gene Kelly. Do you remember that classic scene when Gene Kelly kisses his lover goodbye at the door and opens the door for her and she goes into her house and he's got an umbrella in his hand and He kisses her goodnight and tells her goodbye, and he stands to turn into the street. And when he turns into the street, it starts raining. He opens his umbrella, and he starts dancing down the sidewalk. And as the rain becomes torrents, he casts the rainbow aside, and his hat all dips all down, turns all down in the rain. But he's singing in the rain. Do you remember the lyrics? I'm singing in the rain, just singing in the rain. What a glorious feeling, I'm happy again. The sun's in my heart, and I'm ready for love. Let the stormy clouds chase everyone from this place. Come on with the rain, I've a smile on my face. I'll walk down the lane with a happy refrain, just singing in the rain. I'm happy again. I'm singing and dancing in the rain. Singing and dancing in the rain. I run in the rain. But Gene Kelly was able to sing in the rain. Rainbows. In the summer of 2014, Dolores, my wife, had an unusual kind of bizarre accident in our garage. A friend and I were putting together a kind of portable closet cabinet to be used in our garage. And Dolores was out watching, helping, handing tools, that kind of thing. And all of a sudden, that cabinet began to fall forward toward her. And in her effort, gratefully, thankfully, to escape being beneath that cabinet and walking backwards, she tripped and fell and broke her pelvis. Very, very painful. When I got to her, she said to me immediately, I think I've broken my hip. Turned out to be her pelvis. So we called 911 and they came. And they were so kind and lifted her onto the stretcher. And because it had begun to rain, they decided that to protect her, they backed the ambulance right up to the back almost of the garage door. And so in order to protect her, they would put a white sheet over her. Well, you can imagine our neighborhood of 65 houses. You're ahead of me. You can imagine that our neighborhood of 65 houses with all the yellow lights and red lights. I never understood why they had to send a rescue truck, an ambulance, and a fire truck on 911, but they do. Here they all were lined up down our street, lights flashing, and so on and so on. Well, the neighbors had gathered. And the neighbors had gathered across the street. And here Dolores was on this white sheet covered all the way. And they are putting her in this ambulance. And she realizes that the people are across the street. If I'd had a video, I would have won America's funniest video. But here Dolores is under this sheet, all the way over her head. Now you can imagine what people automatically would think when somebody's covered like that. Absolutely. So they're standing all out, and then I could almost hear the gas go, oh, And all of a sudden, this little arm comes out from under the sheet. And she knows where they are, and she raises her arm like this, and she goes. And they put her in the ambulance and take her away. If I had not been so distressed, I'd still be laughing. So they took her away to the hospital, and I get in the car and immediately followed. And after we had just barely gotten out of the neighborhood, we knew nothing about it. We got to the hospital. We was in the hospital for those days, came home for physical therapy, and obviously recovered well, as you see her. But when we got home, our across-the-street neighbor came over to visit with us and brought with her a picture. Picture. And the picture was, as soon as we'd gotten out of the neighborhood, there came a rainbow. All the way over our house. From the angle of the photographer, it looked as if that rainbow were all the way over our house. We took it, put it on our refrigerator for days and days and days. We believe that was more than a coincidence of God's grace, but we believe it was a sign to us that we can sing in the rain and know His promise is not in vain. There was a man from Scotland whose name was George Matheson. George Matheson, as a young man, had great promise. Being an author, a writer, teacher. And as he aged, he began to have problems with his vision. And so during that time, he had fallen in love with a woman, and they had become engaged. And so as his blindness progressed, she began to withdraw. And so she came to tell him one day that she could no longer be engaged to him. And she broke their engagement. In a matter of a brief period of time, George Matheson became blind. But his mind was as sharp as it had ever been. And he began to write. And he wrote the words to one of my favorite hymns. It was originally a poem. The title in our hymn book is, "O Love That Will Not Let Me Go," is what he said. "O love that will not let me go, I rest my weary soul in Thee. I give Thee back the life I owe, that in Thine ocean depth its flow may richer, fuller be. O light that cloudless all my way, I yield my flickering torch to Thee. My heart restores its borrowed way, that in Thy sunshine's blaze its day may brighter, fairer be. O joy that seeketh me through pain, I cannot close my heart to Thee. I trace the rainbow through the rain, and feel the promise is not in vain, that morn shall tearless be. O cross that lifteth up my head, I dare not ask to flee from Thee. I lay in dust life's glory dead, and from the ground there blossoms red life that shall endless be. That third stanza, all of them touch my heart. But that third stanza brings into focus what we are thinking about today. I trace the rainbow through the rain, and feel the promise is not vain, that morn shall tearless be. Life brings its storms. You don't have to live long to realize that life has its storms. But as believers in Christ, and knowing that He said, "And lo, I am with you always," we can walk through the storm and keep our heads up high. Amen. There are three men in the Bible who saw rainbows. Noah saw a rainbow. Ezekiel saw a rainbow. And John, in the book of Revelation, saw a rainbow. As you look at the text today, the rainbow is God's covenant that He will never leave us. You see, Noah saw the rainbow after the storm. Ezekiel, in the text of Ezekiel chapter 1, Ezekiel saw the rainbow in the midst of the storm. And then in Revelation 4, verses 1 through 3, John saw the rainbow before the storm. As you read the book of Revelation, you will note in that particular reference that John sees the living Christ clothed with a cloud and with a rainbow on his head. The fulfillment eternally of this wonderful promise of God. So when the raindrops began to fall, and the wind began to blow, and the thunder begins to roll, and life's experience is yours and mine, how wonderful it is for us to have faith in God when your pathway is lonely. He sees and knows all the ways you have trod. So this text today, I believe, says several things to us. And one of the things that I believe that it says, as we look again, I set my rainbow in the cloud, and it shall be for a sign of the covenant between me and the earth. One of the things that I believe God is saying here is that He's giving hope for the world. We sing, He's got the whole world in His hand. And He does. Many years ago, a submarine sank out of the ocean depths. And at that particular period of time, the naval people had designed a rescue effort where they could send divers down and work toward fixing a kind of escape hatch to the submarine turret. And when the divers got there was no way to communicate inside the submarine. And so they used Morse code. And one of the divers had an instrument where he could rap on the hull of the submarine. And so in Morse code he knocked, "Is there anyone alive?" And the Morse code began to come back sounding in his hearing. And the question was, is there any hope? Is there any hope? We don't have to be in submarines to ask that question, do we? There are times when life brings its struggles to us, disappointments, pain, health issues, family dysfunctions, and the list goes on. There are days in the loneliness of the night we want to raise our arms and our faces toward heaven. Say to God, is there any hope? The answer comes back, yes. I will cling to the old rugged cross. And God's answer is, in the rainbow, there's hope for the world. So he's saying, keep your dreams alive. The poet said, when dreams die, life is a broken-winged bird that cannot fly. The rainbow keeps our hopes alive. Rainbows remind us of God's covenant when He said, "And I will never leave you comfortless," in John 14. I will never leave you, as the Greek language says, I will never leave you as orphans. I will come unto you. And Jesus said, behold, I will be with you always. Mrs. Wallace was a member of our church in First Baptist, Canton, Mississippi. She was very ill, almost to the end of her life. She recovered. came back to worship. The first Sunday she came back to worship, she and her dentist husband, Dr. Wallace, I remember them distinctly, they were dear friends. And I remember when they sat in our church sanctuary, right back there, every Sunday. In fact, I felt that they felt they had homesteaded on that part of the bench in our church. The first Sunday she came back, I stood at the door. She placed a little slip of paper in my hand. I put it in my pocket, of course. Shake hands with the others as they were leaving. And when I got home, I reached in, took that little slip of paper. Then she came by, she said, Johnny, I just want you to know how grateful I am to be back today and how I realize that God has been with me. I opened that slip of paper. This is what he said. I have walked too long in the light with him to turn from him and even curse him when I walk through the darkness. Get it? I have walked too long with him in the light to curse him when I walk through the darkness. That's not an easy lesson to learn. I kept that little slip of paper till it turned almost yellow. To remind me that the rainbow says there's hope for the world. This rainbow also tells me that there's courage for the church. The church. The people of God. The people who will not give up. The people who will continue to be the instrument of God in the world. The people who will be light and yeast to our society today. The church. The girl was lost. Out for a walk. Policeman came by. She knew where her house was. She knew how to get back, she thought, but she got lost. The policeman stopped, saw her distress, said, little girl, where do you live? She said, I can't remember. They said, what street do you live on? She said, I can't remember. They said, well, do you have any idea how to get home? She said, oh, yes. She said, just take me to my church. I can find my way home from there. That's what it's all about. Because you see, we are signposts helping people to know the way home. Amen. And the rainbow reminds us that even when the church gets weary, well-doing, that we are indeed people of courage and determination and devotion and dedication, that they will know we are Christians by our love, that we are together in a communion of Christ following. Courage for the church. Third thing I think the rainbow reminds us is that there is indeed for us peace for the person. And I open my Bible text. God cares for me. The missionary had returned home from the mission field, and he was invited to speak to a local church. And he chose this same text from Genesis chapter 9, and I have recorded what he said, and I'm going to pass it on to you. He began his sermon by describing a rainstorm he had experienced while on a mission trip. A mission trip to the mountains, the nation where he served. The congregation chuckled when he said during that rainstorm, you know, I wish Noah had been with us. We could have used him and built an ark. Then he started talking about the storms and human lives. And the compassion in his voice convinced the congregation that he had been through more than one storm himself. Storms are a part of life, he said. God made it that way. But I've learned a secret that's helped me all these years, and it's still helping me. And then he said, always look for the rainbow. The world looks for the silver lining and sings somewhere over the rainbow. But we Christians have something far better than that. Did you ever meet the three men in the Bible who saw rainbows? And then he went to talk about how Noah saw the rainbow after the storm, Ezekiel saw the rainbow in the midst of the storm, John saw the rainbow before the storm. And then he said, Noah and his people had this sign from God, the rainbow that is passed on to us. He closed his Bible and he smiled at the listening congregation and he said, dear friends, you and I will experience storms until we're called to heaven. And then all storms will cease. Expect the storms and don't be afraid of them because God is always faithful. Just remember God's message to us today. Always look for rainbows. Depend on the faithfulness of God. Sometimes He'll show you the rainbow after the storm. Sometimes during the storm. And sometimes before the storm. And God will never fail you. Just look for the rainbow. Tony Campolo is one of my favorite preacher writers. He is not a Baptist, but he preaches like a Baptist. He writes such wonderful material. Tony Campolo is a professor at a theological school up in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. He is a member of a predominantly African-American church in that city by his choice. He talks about the preaching of his pastor, the leadership of his pastor. And he tells the story that one Good Friday morning, you remember Good Friday? God's Friday, really. When Jesus was on the cross, died. And so the church was having a Good Friday service. And there were several preachers who preached, and Tony Campolo said he preached, and when he finished, he sat down and thought, that's one of my best sermons. And then his pastor preached. Inimitable manner of preaching. His pastor began to describe how in our lives we will have Fridays. We'll have storms. Fridays. We say that little phrase, thank God it's Friday, you know, but sometimes I'm not really to thank God for my Fridays because they hurt sometimes. Experiences of my life, Friday experiences. You know the feeling. It's storm. We're going to look for the rainbow. And Tony Campolo said that his pastor concluded that sermon in a manner that he would never forget. He talked about Fridays, the darkness of Fridays, the dilemma of Fridays, the heaviness of Fridays. And then he began to say, as the preaching style of many black pastor preachers is, he began to say, it's Friday, but Sunday's coming. It's Friday, but Sunday's coming. And his congregation began to pick up that kind of response to the preacher. And the preacher would say, it's Friday. The congregation would say, but Sunday's coming. He says, Friday, but Sunday's coming. And he got to the point where he came to say, it's Friday, and that whole congregation stood up and shouted, but Sunday's coming! for the rainbow. I have news for you. Sunday's coming. We're going to sing a hymn. Come every soul by sin oppressed, there's mercy with the Lord, and He will surely give you rest by trusting in His word. If there is anyone who would like to make some gesture of a public decision for Christ, I'm going to stand where Paul used to stand and await you coming forward to share your choice, your decision, and with the congregation, with me, for prayer time, as you choose, to make that definite decision and choice today in a public manner. We would invite you to come and share it with us. But when you go away, please remember that an octogenarian pastor of many years has brought to you today lessons learned in my own life. I trace the rainbow in the rain, and I have learned that His promise is not in vain. Let's stand.